Alright, Joe here, welcome back to We Need to Talk. This week's show is brought to you by our friends at Manscaped. You can get 20% off all Manscaped products and free shipping using the code FOOTBALLDAILY on manscaped.com. Anyway, this is the show that looks at football on the internet over the past 7 days. 7 days that's seen Jurgen Klopp and Sean Dyche going at it on the touchline. I love it, Big Sean, you ginger genius.
Fiery finish that first 45 minutes. You saw words exchanged between the managers. Maybe a sign that frustration is boiling over at Anfield.
Mikel Arteta struggling to conceal a smile after revealing he knows exactly who the Arsenal mole is.
I have a sort of an idea, yes.
Was that related? Was that related at all to the players who went out this month?
No comment on that.
And James Maddison absolutely buzzing to be top of the Premier League, even though it was only for 24 hours. Go on, Paul.
Yeah, sounds nice, doesn't it? The top of the Premier League. Probably for about 24 hours. But it's a good one psychologically because we've worked really hard and halfway through the season now, and to be sitting top's a great achievement for us and one we can definitely build on. But yeah, like you said, I don't think you'll see a more complete team performance from us this season. So far, I should say.
Anyway, today we're talking about January transfers. Right, in the last 2 weeks, I've been giving you my opinion on players that each club in the Premier League should buy and each club in the Premier League should sell. Shameless rip-offs of James Allcott products. But today, I'm going to be reacting to the biggest January transfer rumours from each Premier League club. I asked you guys on Twitter to get involved and send me your best, your worst, your funniest rumours for each of your teams. Some of the shouts that I've now come across are absolutely disgraceful. Some of them are actually pretty smart. So I'm going to be reacting to them as and when. Should we just crack on with it? Oh yeah, before we do, please hit the like button because, you know, every little helps at this stage. It really does. Alright, we're going to be starting with Arsenal then. And this one has come out of the blue in like the last 48 hours or so. But it looks like it's actually done. It looks like it's Romeo done. I've seen AFC Bell typing away on Twitter confirming this news that Martin Odegaard is going to join the club. It seems that Odegaard's camp have chosen Arsenal over Sociedad. I think it's just not going to work at Real Madrid for Martin Odegaard while Zidane's there anyway. If Zidane got the chop in the summer and he went back, because I believe there isn't a buy option as part of this 6-month loan deal, he might get another chance. But Zidane is going to stick to what he knows. I think it's interesting that Odegaard's picked Arsenal over Sociedad. I like the fact he's going for a new challenge, and I really want him to do well. Big fan of Martin Odegaard, and ever since he left Norway, I've always wanted him to absolutely smash it. He's a Football Manager icon. Do you remember when his dad had to write to Football Manager to get him on the game because he was under the age of 16, needed parental permission? I mean, legendary status that is in the Football Manager community. But overall, I think this is a wicked signing. A little bit of rotation with Emile Smith-Rowe, who is quite injury-prone. You can't be totally reliant on him for the rest of the season. Him and Odegaard rotating week by week. That's some prospect. I'd be so excited if I was an Arsenal fan. This is a good signing. All right, moving on to Aston Villa. I saw this one about Morgan Sanson this week. Apparently, Aston Villa lodged a £16 million bid, to which Andre Villas-Boas actually publicly demolished them. He just sat them down. We had a very, very weak offer from Aston Villa, which we turned down. It was pathetic. That's unreal by Andre Villas-Boas. I just love managers calling out other teams, to be honest with you. Look, he's a bit of an all-round threat, Morgan Sanson. 5 goal involvements in 10 league owned games. Very solid defensive numbers. Pretty decent creative output. But do Villa actually need another midfielder in January? McGinn, Barkley, Grealish, Douglas Luiz, Conor Hourihane, Marvelous Nakamba's coming back. I don't think they do. I think maybe reassess in the summer if you do move players on. But right now, maybe don't get pushed into paying over the odds just because Andre Villas-Boas is mugging you off on Twitter. Okay. Moving on to Brighton now then. And this one isn't even a rumour. It's a confirmed move now. It's happened today. Matty Ryan's gone Arsenal. What? Honestly, where has this move come from? I've not seen a single rumour about it. It's just been sprung on us. Slap in the face. I mean, it's not really, is it? Because, you know, he's not exactly amazing. worst save percentage of any goalkeeper in the entire Premier League. Let in more goals comparatively to expected goals than any keeper in the Premier League. But he's not going to be a star for Arsenal. He's just going to usurp Rumour, who's basically a fisherman with no arms. Moving on to Burnley then, and I think this one I actually suggested on players to buy a couple of weeks ago, because it's Josh King, heavily linked with this January move. Contract, of course, up in the summer. Burnley, desperate for goals, but weren't desperate for goals last night, were they? Ashley Barnes! Sean Dyche's just on the sideline, pumping away. Come on, the boys. Can't believe they broke the Anfield hoodoo last night. But yeah, I think he'd be a really good signing, as I've said in the past. Guarantees a few goals. I think he's got 12 goals, 16 goals in a couple of seasons in the Premier League. Might get you 8+, which would be a real positive for Burnley. This is a smart transfer. Next up, we've got Chelsea, and this one is just class. Avram Grant. This headline has been everywhere. It's in The Athletic, it's in The Telegraph. It's on every major sports publication, Avram Grant being linked to Chelsea because Frank Lampard is struggling. And he actually has the highest points per game ratio of any manager in the Roman Abramovich era. Seriously. Now, Grant has subsequently come out to deny the rumour. He said he's had no official contact with the club, despite fans on Twitter asking him to return. Not as a minder for Frank, but as an actual replacement. I don't know where the minder rumour came from. That was kind of bizarre. But I can totally picture Roman Abramovich just sat on his £2 billion yacht going, Avram, hello, mate. Need a favour. Okay, Crystal Palace, Ezekiel Scalotto. There weren't many rumours with Crystal Palace. I apologise to all of our Palace fans out there. But yeah, I don't even know what to say about him. Released by Brighton a couple of years ago, wasn't he? He was linked to Serie C side Sambedeste. But surely Palace can do better than this. They've already got 3 right-backs. I know that Ferguson's injured. Klein's out of contract this month, but that'll get renewed, won't it? And Ward, it's Ward, but 3 right-backs on the books. Do you need a 4th? That was linked with the Serie C side? Nah, you don't. Everton then, Sami Khedira. Now, this kind of has gone a bit quiet over the last couple of weeks, but at the start of January, headlines galore when I Googled him. Not started more than 10 league games since 2017-18, and that would be a big worry for me. I know that Carlo Ancelotti has worked with him in the past, and I think he did say, didn't he? Oh, you know, not one for us right now, but maybe in January, in like October sort of time. I just don't think this would be a smart investment. Unless it was just a 6-month deal to get you across the last bit of the season. It's not long-term smart planning, is it? Fulham are up next. Put in a really good performance against Manchester United midweek. If they had some cutting edge, they probably would have got a result in that game. And the cutting edge they've gone for, or have been linked with, is Dwight Gale. And in terms of cutting edge, I'd put Dwight Gale more towards the end of the butter knife spectrum than the samurai sword. Nah, but in all seriousness, I'm being a bit harsh on Dwight Gale there, because he has been wicked in the Championship, isn't he? He is one of the best Championship strikers you can find on the market. I think he's got 23 goals, 24 goals in his last 2 Championship seasons. Just can't make that step up. Hasn't been able to make that step up, and I don't think he's right for Fulham. I think they need a little bit more presence up top. Effectively a younger Mitrovic, and that is going to be hard to find. Use your imagination though, because Dwight Gale feels like there's no imagination there. It almost feels like lazy recruitment. Leeds then, headlines are pretty thin for Leeds and transfers at the moment. Not loads of players being linked. Rodrigo de Paul's name was mentioned in a few articles when I was researching it. I don't think it will happen in January. I think that move would get priced well out in January. And Leeds have already got, a few attacking midfield options in the likes of Click, Hernandez, Rodrigo. Maybe they need a bit more support for Phillips in the deeper role. We know Rodrigo de Paul plays a little bit deeper than an advanced 10. But that might work for Leeds. And I think in the summer, it would be a smart signing. But in January, I just don't see it happening. I really don't see it happening. For 40 million euros or 30 million euros, I don't think Leeds will do any business this Jan. Leicester then, another one I believe I mentioned on the Good Business a couple of weeks ago. This one's Odsonne Edouard. Get it done. It makes so much sense. Celtic are about as deep in the mud as you could possibly get. They're up to the neck in quicksand at the moment, and Neil Lennon is sinking fast. He's got a bit of a knee injury at the moment. That's why he's apparently not in the squads. But his contract's, of course, up in 2022. He wants out. There's going to be an exodus at Celtic in the summer of all of their best players. Christie will be out, Edouard will be out, Ayer will be out. So I messaged Chris Ham to find out a little bit more about Odsonne Edouard. How much does he think he'd go for? Would he be a good signing for Leicester? He messaged back saying 30 to 35 million pounds should be enough. I said, oh my days, I was thinking more 15 to 20, given that he's only got 18 months left in his contract and Celtic are in the mud. He replied, no chance. Tierney was 25 million plus, taxation for forwards, and January panic tax, which is a line I know you'll use, and I have used it. It is true. I believe they'd have to pay more because of the January situation. Still though, 25 million pounds for a player of Odsonne Edouard's quality, I think would be quite smart business. If you wait till the summer, you might get him even cheaper, but Leicester are firmly in a top 4 battle here, and Odsonne Edouard might be the key to getting over the line. Come on, Brendan. You've worked with him. You know his class. Liverpool. This one, just gold dust. Okay. Sokratis. Now, I don't want to mug this rumour off too badly, but I did see Dejan Lovren mugging off Liverpool yesterday. I've got his quotes up here. I think Liverpool miss me more than I miss them. And Jurgen Klopp knows this because we communicate. And he recently said, we miss you. Housery by Lovren. Just poking a man that's already down injured here. Because Liverpool are struggling a little bit. They are going to come back. Let's not be panicking. But, I mean, Sokratis would be a panic. There's no need to panic that much, lads. Leave Fabinho and Henderson there. I mean, George Wright's editing this. He's an Arsenal fan. He's just let Sokratis go. George, one image on screen to display how you're feeling about Sokratis joining Liverpool. Manchester City up next then. And I saw them quite heavily linked to Romelu Lukaku, which isn't going to happen in January. Let's be totally realistic. There's no way Inter Milan are going to let their best player or their best forward go midway through the season. And City definitely need to replace Aguero in the summer. It feels like Aguero, I think he's got coronavirus now. He had injuries before that. His time's probably up at Manchester City and they need to move on. Romelu Lukaku is one of the best goal scorers in the world. A fantastic finisher. But by the time the summer comes around, he'll be 28. Do I believe he's got the ball-playing ability to sit in a Pep Guardiola system? I'm not overly convinced. He's not as bad on the ball as people make out, but equally, I think you need a little bit more link-up than Romelu's got, and 28 feels towards the top end of a City spectrum. I don't think they would pay the 70s and 80s for Lukaku at 28. I think they'll be looking at, the 22-year-olds, the 20-year-olds, the Haalands. I'd be surprised to see Lukaku wearing sky blue. I'd be quite sad, actually, Manchester United could have picked one of 450,000 players for this one because we're in a never-ending cycle of transfer gossip, Manchester United. I've actually just gone for the worst rumour I've read. That's Christian Eriksen. Where the would Christian Eriksen play at United? Bruno wants to play 10. Pogba wants to play 10. Donny wants to play 10. Where the is Eriksen going to play? Newcastle, then... Now, I couldn't find many players linked to Newcastle, and the headline I read about Eddie Howe really intrigued me. Because, I can't lie, Steve Bruce is absolutely rocking right now. As soon as he came out in the press and went, I'm going to be playing my way. I'm going to do it my way. 4-4-2, little large up front, Andy Carroll and Wilson. I thought, we're near in the end. And I saw quite a few arguments. It was a great Monday Night Football between Carroll and Neville of Bruce versus Benitez. And I have to say, I was kind of on Carroll's side with this one. I don't necessarily agree that Bruce is doing as good a job as Benitez. I think Benitez, last 6 months, had Newcastle playing some pretty good football, didn't spend as much, brought them up from the Championship. Bruce feels like they're getting worse week on week. The football is as bad as I've ever seen a Premier League side play. So Eddie Howe at this stage, he's basically risk-free, isn't he? Because he's not going to be playing worse football than this Steve Bruce team. I would be slightly worried about that Burnley stint that Eddie Howe had that just failed and fell apart. But nevertheless, I would like to see this happen. Eddie Howe back in the Premier League. I think he's warranted that move from what he's done at Bournemouth. Newcastle will be a step up in club from Bournemouth. If you could keep him in the division, maybe snatch some funds out of Mike Ashley's pockets somehow, I believe this could be a good move. So Eddie Howe to Newcastle, not Bournemouth. Yes, please. All right, Sheffield United. The names are barren. No transfers with Sheffield United. So I've got one name that's going to feature twice on this list, and that name is Jesse Lingard. Now, I think he'd be a great signing for Sheffield United, first and foremost. He'd immediately improve their creativity and attacking midfield options. He's homegrown. He's going to work his socks off. If you can get him on a 6-month loan without paying his wages, you've had a worldie, I think, if you're Sheffield United. I don't want to say too much more on him to Sheffield United because, you know, I'm going to wait until the negative move he's been linked with because it's hilarious. Southampton are up next then, and this is Danny Ings wanting out, isn't it? Oh, no. Oh, no. This would just be horrendous. A hammer blow for Southampton. The biggest possible hammer. A sledgehammer of blows, really, for Ralph Hasenhüttl if Danny Ings was to leave. It ain't going to be in January, first and foremost. Let's calm down. If he's going to leave, it will be in the summer. 22 goals last season. I think it was 7 in 12 this season. Is incredibly impressive. And you know what? I was thinking about this earlier. No one would begrudge him a move, would they? He's 28. This is going to be his last major contract. Why not have one more shot at Champions League football? I think fair play to him for having the ambition to go, I want one more shot at glory. Because he's probably not going to win titles at Southampton. My issue is, what title-winning team are going to take a risk on Danny Ings, given his injury record? I think every team acknowledges he is amazing at finishing. But the dodgy knees panic me. I don't think one of the top six is going to say, here's £40 million for Danny Ings at 28 with no knees, despite the fact he's a good goal scorer. I think he'll sign a new deal. I know it's up in 2022. Not going anywhere for me. Moving on to Tottenham Hotspur, and he's back. Jesse Lingard. How did this happen? How is he being linked with Sheffield United and Tottenham Hotspur? It's bizarre. I don't get this move at all. Dele Alli can't get a minute of football for Tottenham Hotspur, but you're telling me they're going to go out and sign Jesse Lingard, are you? I don't know who originally came up with this rumour, but it's absolute nonsense. They've got abundance of number 10. They've got an abundance of wide men. You know, Lucas Moura, Lamela, Bergwijn, who can all operate in similar areas to Lingard, let alone Tanguy Ndombele, Lo Celso, Dele Alli. This is ridiculous. Absolutely one of the worst rumours I've seen this window. West Bromwich Albion, couldn't really find anything. And by Diagne, don't know who he is. To be honest with you, I probably should. That's shameful. But yeah, he's scored 9 goals in 8 games for Galatasaray and somehow been linked to a move to Juventus as well. Good agent. Must be a good agent if he's being linked to West Brom and Juventus. But West Brom need a goal scorer. Crying out for a striker. Big Sam. I think he said he's put out 200 plus inquiries for players. The old band getting back together. And Diagne, is that how you pronounce it? Looks like he might join too. As for West Ham, still shocked they let Seb Aller go mid-season. A backup striker at least. To Ajax. It just feels so weird. They have been linked with Youssef and Yesri. I'd be surprised to see this move happen in January, it has to be said. He's in pretty good form for Sevilla. 12 months left on his contract, I know, but I just don't believe Sevilla would let one of their key forwards go to West Ham, no matter what the price, due to the La Liga situation. They must be thinking they can push teams very far this season. They're one of the best teams in the league. It's a very different style of player to Seb Aller. I don't see it being a possible move in January. Maybe in the summer, when they can reassess, but January, surely not. As for Wolves, it looks like they're close to agreeing a loan deal for Willian Jose out of Real Sociedad. The BBC saying that Sociedad are willing to let him go out on loan because he's not a regular starter in the team. He's been a want-away player for a while now, hasn't he? I remember last January, Tottenham wanted him. He nearly joined them, and then he had to apologise to the Sociedad fans. I think Wolves are crying out for a striker. Willian Jose fits the profile. Jimenez hopefully is going to return before the end of the season. Plugs a gap, and everybody remembers my Patrick Catrone shout that he won't score a goal for Wolves. Nearly scored, by the way, last weekend. Blazing absolutely sitter over the bar. So yeah, I think this is a good move. All right, so that's it for today's episode of We Need to Talk. If you've seen any more horrendous or amazing January transfer rumours, stick them in the comments below right now. Quick reminder that this episode is brought to you by Manscaped. You can get 20% off and free shipping with the code FootballDaily on manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping on manscaped.com with the code FootballDaily, all one word. Thanks very much for watching, guys. We'll see you later. Bye.